Hello everyone, welcome to Bokeh. I'm Coy Wooten.
I'm Jeremiah Green.
And I'm Micah Grunewald.
Today we're going to be talking about the new movie that just came out, Nightcrawler.
Excuse me, sir. I'm looking for a job. I'm a hard worker. I set high goals. My motto is, if you want to win the lottery, you have to make the money to buy a ticket.
I'm going to be talking about the opening of the film as it relates to the ending, plus the introduction of the character. The film opened with 3 shots, one of an empty billboard, one of a moon over some mountains, a nice nature shot, and of course a shot heavy with digital grain of the Los Angeles cityscape. The first shot is sort of a commentary on media, the sensationalist media of America. And then the second shot is revisited in the ending shot, except the moon is obstructed by some antennas that are broadcasting the sensationalist media. You know, sort of what have we lost? We've lost the piece of nature sort of shot. And of course, the digital grain of the city. This is revisited in the middle of the film when Jake Gyllenhaal, his character, visits a news set where the anchors sit in front of a cityscape shot, as we've all seen before when we watch news. And up close, it has the same grain. And he's like, oh, this is how people view their city, through the lens of sensationalist media. And of course, the introduction of Jake Gyllenhaal's main character, he has some wire cutters. He's cutting down a fence. You realize that he's stealing it quite early on because he could just get around the fence. He's not trying to get through it. And you get a shot inside his car. He's got a bunch of stolen material that he's going to sell later. And a security guard pulls up. The great thing about this character is he realizes that this is a threat, but he analyzes it. He's calm. He understands the person. He's great at diplomacy. He gets the security guard exactly where he wants him. He beats him. And he takes his watch. You realize that this is a character that's not afraid to do what he wants to get ahead.
We're going to find the person that drove that car. Start filming.
I wanted to talk about the score of the film. So the score was done by James Newton Howard, who is actually my favorite composer. I don't think he's the best, but he's my favorite. He's done films like The Village and Treasure Planet, which are 2 of my favorite scores of all time. I actually didn't like his composing in this movie. I thought it was one of the weaker aspects of the film. Although I do love him and his work, he was not the correct style for this movie. It was very kind of gritty and realistic movie, and there was one scene in particular where Jake Gyllenhaal kind of spills a little bit of his inside character and what he actually thinks, and the entire movie has established Jake Gyllenhaal as this kind of psychopathic, awkward character, and then the score kind of completely eliminated that aspect of him as he was divulging his heart out, which I thought kind of destroyed that entire mood. I thought someone who would have done a lot better in a movie like this would be the Dust Brothers, who did the soundtrack of Fight Club. It's one of those more subtle soundtracks that's mainly just kind of rumblings and bass sounds, but it would have been a lot more effective into telling the story and creating the correct tone.
I'm going to talk about the cinematography for Nightcrawler. The first thing I noticed was the digital noise. The first couple of shots, it was very noisy and I really didn't like it. Until the movie started playing out more, I realized, oh, this is probably film grain. And up until today, I thought it was shot on film, but it really was digital. But the next thing I noticed was some focus issues. There's some really close-up shots, and the eyes were out of focus, and normally I could forgive that, but it was so close up that it should have been nailed on the eyes. And they weren't even moving around all that much. So that kind of pulled me out of it. But the composition of the film was really good. I loved it. There's this one shot in particular where 2 characters were up in each other's face and going at it. And I didn't like it at first. They're dead center. You can see the back of his head and only like a sliver of her face. I'm like, why do you use that shot? But then it really actually worked because it really portrayed how much they were up in each other's faces.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully you had a good time.
Check us out on Facebook and Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube.
And we'll see you next week.